hair again. Welcome to my Wednesday lives every Wednesday at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, and we're styling my hair. If you're new here, my name is Gal. I am a hairstylist in Ottawa, Canada. I work out of a salon called Curlology, and if you're interested in booking appointments with me, as usual, you can send me a DM. Anyway, so today we are styling my hair, and I have to say, this last week, if you feel like going back and watching last week's live, it's probably worth a watch because I did two 15-minute refreshes this past week, and I got my hair to last 6 days, and that is a record for me. It didn't look dry. Honestly, it barely looked frizzy, and we're not talking like long, fully wet my hair refreshes. Around day 3, I think I fully saturated about 4 individual spirals on my head, but not my whole head. And then around day 5, I used a spray, like a refreshing spray, and like slightly, maybe 10% dampened my hair. And that was it. That was my 2 refreshes during the week. So yes, I invest on my wash day. I call it putting like curls in the bank on wash day or waves in the bank on wash day. I have a slightly longer routine, but I basically do my hair once a week and maybe spend an extra 30 minutes on my hair the whole rest of the week. So that's basically what I'm going to show you today is my the day that I do my hair. This is what I do. I invest a little bit more today, and yeah, we're going to get started. The first thing I recommend is that you actually bring your styling products into the shower with you, and as soon as you rinse out your conditioner, immediately start applying your styling products on soaking wet hair. Now obviously I didn't bring you into the shower with me, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to resaturate my hair. I'm literally going to stick my hair under the sink to get it like soaking wet, and that's realistically probably going to get my shirt soaking wet, but whatever. So I'm going to stick my head under the sink. This is too cold. Very cold. Okay. And I'm not going to squeeze any of the water out of my hair. I want it to be super, super wet. Now, to help with that, I typically have a towel on the floor, and I also am going to put a towel around my neck, like that. Usually I wear a tank top while I'm doing this, and it makes it better. I don't know why I decided to wear a long sleeve today. Just to make my life difficult, I guess. I was cold. It's winter. Okay, so when it comes to choosing styling products, I always get a lot of different questions about what styling products I use, what styling products people who follow me should use. The truth is, there's no such thing as one-size-fits-all styling products. Almost every client that comes and sits in my chair, I make a slightly different product combination recommendation for. Like, I have my favorite mixes of products, but I'm gonna tweak it slightly for your hair based on what your goals are and what your hair type is. But in general, most people are going to want at least 2 products, 1 base product and 1 topper product. There are very few people who are going to get optimal results, who are gonna get their best hair with just 1 product. You might be able to get good hair. It might be a good place to start, especially if you have budget constraints. When you're first starting to take care of your hair, maybe you can only get a gel to get started, and that's okay. That's a great place to start. But as you get deeper into learning to take care of your hair, chances are you're probably going to need more than 1 product. So most people are going to need a base product and a topper product, okay? Now, if you're like, my hair gets weighed down really, really easily, I can't use a whole bunch of products, that just means that when you're selecting your products, they need to be extremely lightweight. You probably still can handle multiple products. They just all need to be extremely lightweight products, and you need to use the right amount of each. I have had clients with the finest, lowest density, most easily weighed down curl pattern in my chair, and I've still used like 2, maybe even 3 products on their hair, but all 3 of those products are like baby fine, super, super lightweight products, but they all do different things, and you just use the right amount of each, and that's giving them better results and more longevity than if you just used one product that's only doing one thing for them, or maybe 2 things. So yeah, the first product, so most people are going to need at least one base product and at least one topper product. The base products that I'm using today, base products typically are going to give you moisture. They're going to address whether or not you want your hair to have encourage the curl or reduce shrinkage. They're going to address that. They're also going to address texture usually. So do you want to reduce frizz, or do you want to add texture to your hair if your hair is really, really silky? Because if your hair is super silky, the curl might just fall out of it, right? But if your hair is naturally really frizzy, we probably want to address that. So with our base product, we're addressing the texture of your hair. We're addressing whether or not your hair needs moisture typically. And usually this is going to come in the form of like a curl cream. If your hair needs a leave-in conditioner, you might also use a leave-in conditioner as a base product. So you might need 2 base products, but not everybody needs a leave-in conditioner. My hair doesn't need a leave-in conditioner at this point. Who knows, my hair might change over time. So I'm using a blowout cream. You can use an air dry cream as a leave-in conditioner. You can use a curl cream as a leave-in conditioner. I love blowout creams because they're usually really lightweight. This one also has a heat protectant. It doesn't do anything to encourage my curl, but I'm okay with that. So I'm using, I like it because it's very, very lightweight on my hair. It's moisturizing and has a built-in heat protectant. How do you know if you don't need a leave-in conditioner? I would say most of my clients don't need leave-in conditioner. Really the only people who do need a very lightweight leave-in conditioner, like a spray, extremely like almost watery leave-in conditioner, is my low porosity clients. Like and when I say low porosity, I mean their hair is like hydrophobic. Their hair will not receive moisture. Most of my other clients don't need a leave-in conditioner. It's just adding extra weight. If their hair needs moisture, we use a moisturizing curl cream, blowout cream, whatever it is, that is the appropriate weight for their hair so that their hair can receive that moisture. Okay, so my hair likes a lot of product, okay? It needs to be lightweight product, but it likes a good amount of product. It like absorbs it, okay? So I'm gonna go all over. You guys saw I literally just stuck my hair under the faucet. I can already take this off, I can tell. My hair is higher porosity than it used to be. It used to be kind of medium to low porosity, and now it's a little bit higher porosity, probably because I style my hair a lot more these days. I blow dry it a little bit more, so maybe a little bit of heat damage in there. And it could also be just that my hair is changing over time. But my guess is that I heat style it more than I used to now that I'm a hairstylist. Okay, so I like to be pretty generous with my blowout cream. You need a moisture cream that isn't heavy. I have super fine hair, but so much of it, yeah. I'm even gonna add a little bit more of my blowout cream, and I like to really make sure I've added it everywhere. Oop. Okay, so first product is added in. Okay, so now my next product, actually before I even go in with that, I have a little bit of a spray bottle. And I typically like to re-add water at each step just to make sure my hair is still hydrated, and because my hair like pushes out the water and dries pretty quickly. tons of 3A hair. I have an undercut so I can handle styling the rest. So when my hair was much longer, before I started wearing my hair in its kind of wavy, spirally state, I had an undercut to make it easier to straighten. So I definitely feel you on that. Hello. Okay, so I've added a little bit more water in. Now I'm gonna go in with a mousse, okay? So this is the Vital Curl Soft Defining Mousse by Dad. I really like this mousse. It's a very moisturizing mousse. Now they market it that you can use it as a one and done. If you wanted it to be a little bit lighter weight, you could use it as a one and done. I wouldn't use it on super fine hair. It's really meant for a curl pattern closer to mine. Medium strand thickness, not super fine, not super coarse hair. That's who it's meant for. So it's meant to give volume and moisture and for curls with bounce. That's how they market it. So I like to do like, I'd say a pretty generous amount of this one. And the reason I like to go in with a mousse, we talked about base products and topper products. I use a combination of 2 topper products. One second. A combination of 2 topper products. The 2 topper products that I use are a mousse and a foam. The foam that I use though is unlike a foam that you guys, unless you use this specific foam, unlike a foam that you've probably ever tried before, it's an extremely strong hold foam. So it's kind of more similar to a gel. Is split ends normal? I trim my hair every 3 months, but sometimes I see split ends in a few strands. How carefully are you checking? I would say, are you checking like every single hair for split ends? I don't know. I haven't like looked that closely. Is it possible to still have some split ends after 3 months? Probably. I would worry more about generally, are you having a significant amount of breakage after 3 months? And technically, yes, it is still possible. It depends on your hair. Some people's hair is more prone to breakage than other people's hair. Like for example, are you lightening your hair? Are you, do you have very fine hair? Fine hair is much more prone to breakage than other hair types. So if you think you're very prone to split ends, getting it cut every 3 months is a very good idea. You can also do like protein or protein moisture treatments at home, like on a monthly basis to help strengthen your hair. And you can also do bond treatments. Now be careful, it is possible to overdo it with these treatments. So I would work with your hairstylist to make sure you're doing this on a frequency that makes sense for your hair. And if your hair starts to get straw-like or brittle, slow it down, clarify your hair, and make sure you're doing moisture treatments intermittently as well to make sure that everything's balanced. Did I miss a comment from you, Autumn? What causes the front sides to come out straight even though I use my products and techniques all over? Oh, I have no idea, Autumn. I'd have to see your hair. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit more Vital Curl. I'd have to see what's going on in your routine. Could be that it's too long. It could be something that's you're doing your routine. Could be that the front and sides you're not making wet enough. They might need to be more wet than the rest of your routine. Could be a different curl pattern texture there. Okay, so Oh, just stuck my hand in my water glass to get more water, but I was like not thinking. Okay, so now again, after each step, my hair just needs so much more water. Like, a lot of the times people tell me, well, I scrunch my hair and I can hear a scrunching noise. My hair must be wet enough. So I want to show you something. I'm hearing a scrunching noise there. My hair is nowhere near wet enough right now. So just because you hear a scrunching noise, it doesn't necessarily mean that your hair is wet enough for styling. It depends on the products you're using, it depends on your hair, it depends what your goals are. For my hair to come together, like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but my hair is very stringy right now. So I always say, don't go by feel, don't go by sound, go by how it looks. I can see that my hair is not naturally clumping like seaweed hair right now, so I know it's not wet enough. Before I go in with my next step, which is foam, I want to make sure that my hair is wet enough. I still struggle with the top section holding enough water. Make sure you're using enough of whatever your cream product is, and then you might benefit, rather than using one of the infinity spray misters, from using a regular, like for cleaning windows mister, because they spray more water than an infinity mister does, or literally running your faucet on like a drizzle and cupping your hand under it and like using that to get water on your hair, because that even gets more water sometimes. In fact, that might be what I do right now to get a little bit more water on my hair. I'm gonna get soaking wet doing this. And actually, I think I'm going to do that to get a little bit more water. Okay. So, next up, I'm going to add in my foam. Why the mousse foam combo over gel? It's lighter weight for my hair, and I like to get lots of volume. My hair gets weighed down really, really easily. I also love really strong hold products lately with my hair. I wasn't using that before. The stronghold foam is called I Create Definition. Okay, so I add this product in sections. I'm going to add it to the bottom section first. When you're using I Create Definition, you need to add it in sections, in my experience. So I do kind of the bottom section of my head. Now you can really overdo it with I Create Definition, and you need to apply it. My recommendation is to apply it to soaking wet hair. There are other ways to use this product, but when you're just getting used to it, I would apply it to soaking, dripping wet hair. That's my recommendation. Okay, so first pump. And the reason for that is it creates a very strong cast. So if it starts to dry before you're done working with the hair, and you don't have like a very resilient curl pattern, it's gonna feel like it's making the hair go straight. But it's not, it's just that the hair is starting to dry while you're still like raking the hair straight or whatever, so then it's holding it in that position. So you need to keep the hair super, super wet until you do your last scrunch or whatever it is, like until you're ready for it to like hold the hair. Because it is very, very strong hold. So there's a lot of people, depending on your strand thickness and your hair, you might only need a pump and a half of the foam. My hair can handle a lot of product, so I'm using more than that. But the first time you use this product, do not overdo it. Now you can also use this product over a gel. I like to make the very crown of my head its own section, because because I really like to make sure that I get enough product there. You can see this section right here gives me a lot of grief. So I like to make it its own section so that it is well producted. Okay. And then I add it into this bottom section. And then I have 2 more sections up here. I think I'm actually gonna do 1 more section right here. So I think I'm gonna do 6 pumps overall. That might be too much, but we're gonna give it a try. I'm gonna have a very strong cast today. I never use this much of this product at the salon. But now that I got so much longevity out of it, I'm like, well, I didn't add any refreshing product really during the week, and this is such a lightweight product that I don't really mind using more of it on my wash day. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe this will be too much, but it's gonna be a lot. Anyways, if you use eye create definition at home, I would start with 2 pumps if you have fine or low density hair and see how it goes. And then if you feel like you need more hold, the next time you use it, you can go up to 3 pumps. So you can see I go through and I really take my time adding it in sections. And then once I have added it to all of the individual sections, then I'm gonna go through and do what I call the styling step. Now, a lot of people skip this because they think it just takes too long. But I'm gonna remind you, I got 6 days out of my hair last week. So I spend an extra, sometimes it takes me up to 20 minutes to do this step. But it's in order. Last week I got 6 days out of my hair. And I think a big part of that for me is the right products and taking care of the health of my hair. I cannot tell you enough what a difference it makes using salon quality hair masks on your hair and clarifying on a regular basis. Is it normal to lose some strands of hair while doing the rake and shake method? Of course, especially if you only brush on your wash days. Look at that. You're raking through your hair. And most wavy and curly people only brush their hair on their wash day. So while straight haired people are raking through their hair all week and losing strands all week, all that hair is getting caught in our hair typically, and we're not raking through and loosening those up, and so we're losing all of that when we wash our hair. So all the hair that we've been shedding all week, we're losing it all in one day. Good question. So again, I'm adding more water. Look how much water I'm adding. I think A lot of my clients feel that just because their hair was soaking wet when they started applying products, that's sufficient. But for almost nobody, that's sufficient. You need to keep resaturating your hair throughout the styling process, and that's what helps to continue to control frizz. That's what helps to keep the hair clumped. Now, if you don't want super defined hair, if that's not one of your goals, if you don't want definition, if that's not one of your goals, if you don't want large curl clumps, that's not one of your goals, then the whole keeping it super saturated thing is not as big a deal. But if all the things I just listed are your goals, then it is a really big deal. You need to keep your hair dripping wet all throughout the styling process. Okay, now I'm going to do something called the rake and shake method. The purpose of the rake and shake method. Now, you don't have to do this, but yesterday I only washed my hair once. I got 6 days out of my hair. I did 2 15-minute refreshes all week, and it's because I took the time to do this. So when you wear your hair wavy or curly, you are like basically fully restyling it every 2 or 3 days, or you're just not loving your results, consider taking an extra 20 minutes once a week to do this so that you don't have to spend so much time on your hair the rest of the week. I mean, people think that this is doing the most, but actually I'm investing in my wash day. I'm putting curls in the bank on wash day so that I don't have to spend so much time on my hair the rest of the week. It's like, I think it's one of those high maintenance, low maintenance things. Like it feels like it's a high maintenance thing, but it's being high maintenance to be low maintenance. Like getting waxed. You feel me? Okay, so I did my first section. I like to work through my hair in horizontal sections. People always ask me how I do the back of my head, and this is it. I'm going to explain what I'm doing in a sec, but it's kind of hard to explain with the back of my head. Okay, I'll try and explain here. So I let down a row of hair. Typically when you're doing this to yourself, I recommend just letting down a row of hair the width of your knuckle, so that you're just letting down the amount of hair that you're going to work with at a time, okay? Now, I've been doing this a long time, so sometimes I'll let down a whole row of hair, and then I'll just clip away the section that I'm not ready to work with yet with an alligator clip. But if you find it difficult to distinguish between what you have done and you haven't done yet, then only let down a section the width of your knuckle at a time, okay? I'm going to take my demi brush to smooth any wet frizz and help the hair to clump. And you notice how I wet the hair first. And then I'm going to put my fingers, this is a really small section, so I'm literally just splitting it into two, and I'm doing a skipping rope section with it. Okay, the hair wasn't quite wet enough there, and you can see it kind of got a little stringy, but it's the back of my head, so we're just going to keep rolling. Now, I'm just going to turn my faucet on a very low drip here because that wasn't getting my hair wet enough. And I'm literally putting my hand under the faucet to get it wet enough. And then I'm going to brush through to smooth the wet frizz. Then I'm taking my fingers, raking through with my fingers, starting right at the scalp. And you want the clumps of hair to be roughly the same width. I can't see what I'm doing, so I don't obsess about it. And then I'm raking through, skipping rope motion, and keep pulling through. Okay? And And that's how I do the back of my head. Now, what you're not trying to do right now is make perfect curl clumps. That's not what the rake and shake method is about. Sorry, what you're not trying to do right now is make perfect spirals. That's not what the purpose of the rake and shake method is. And I think when people think that's what the purpose of this step is, it takes them forever. They get really obsessed about the results of every single curl clump. Everything needs to be perfect, and it just takes them a million years. The rake and shake method, the purpose is to create individual defined curl clumps, not perfect curls. We're really adding defined clumps, and when we scrunch the hair later, that's when we're encouraging the curl later on. So don't worry if the second half of the curl isn't bouncing back perfectly. Worry about making those defined clumps right now. Somebody says, hi, does the rake and shake work for wavy hair for shape and volume? And doesn't matter which direction you shake? Great question. Yes, it absolutely works for wavy hair. I'm a hairstylist. I do this all the time on wavy hair in the salon. It actually is fantastic for wavy hair because it can help even out uneven curl pattern. It can help make naturally S-shaped hair look more spirally if that is one of your goals. I'm using my alligator clip, guys, to make this section a little bit smaller so I don't get lost in what I have and haven't already done. I'm brushing the hair out perpendicular from the head. And then does it matter which direction you shake it? At the back of my head, I don't get too hung up in that because I can't see what I'm doing anyways. So I just don't worry about it. When you get around to the sides, sometimes when you go to shake it in one direction, you'll notice it wants to go in a different direction. If you can see what you're doing and you notice it doing that, just go in the other direction. But the back of your head, I always joke, is none of your business. Just do the best you can with what you can do. You're still going to get better results than if you don't do anything. Why do all the wavy hair products not have strong hold? This is the most hilarious thing. This is a problem area on my head, and you'll notice as you get to know your head, okay? As you get to know your curl pattern, you might notice that you naturally start to break away from the rake and shake method, and maybe like in areas that you know have a tendency to get more stringy, you break away and just naturally break into, like, I just shook those out into individual curls, stuff like that. Like, you'll get to know your head and what works best. I don't rake and shake all the way up. Like the top head of my hair, I do brush curls, but I like to rake and shake the bottom where it's less visible and it's just faster. So why do all the wavy hair products not have strong hold? I feel like I need stronger hold and have trouble finding products. I totally agree. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. I don't know. Why do all the wavy hair products not have strong hold? This is like, I have been asking myself this question for so long. It's like they don't know. I think historically, you know why I think it is? For a long time, wavy, really up until very recently, wavies would not buy products that made their hair crunchy. I think that's my theory. If it made their hair crunchy, strong hold might weigh down their curls. Melanie, that's not true, but I can see why you might think that. I think a lot of people associate strong hold with heavier products. But for example, the foam that I'm using in my hair today is one of the strongest hold products on the market, and it is extremely lightweight, like it's not heavy. But it's easy to overdo it. You have to use the right amount of the product for your hair. But strong hold doesn't necessarily equate to heavy. You can find the right strong hold product for every weight of hair. But my theory of it is, it's a good guess. My theory of it is that historically, wavies have been averse to crunchy products. Historically. But I think there's more education on the market nowadays of why products are crunchy, because products that contain hold almost always have some crunch to them. They have some, at least a soft stiffness that is created by the product. So it means that there needs to be some education around how to use the product, right? So sometimes it's easier to sell a product if it doesn't require education. And the easiest way to not have to educate around a product is to not have any hold in it, or a very soft hold, because then it won't create any sort of a cast, right? So that is my guess as to why a lot of the wavy products don't have hold in them, is so that they won't create any sort of a cast. Because a lot of wavies don't want their hair to be crunchy, and they're air drying. Yeah, so that's my guess around that. However, a lot of wavies want their hair to be curlier, so to speak, or more spirally. And so in order to achieve that, they actually need strong hold products, to your point. And strong hold products are going to create a cast. So, does going in sections help to avoid hair getting tangled and knotted in the back? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It also helps to avoid, you know, if you've ever had an issue like scrunching and then you get up and at the back it looks all like hitched. You know what I'm talking about? That's not an issue when you go through section by section, because you're already upright. And you're lifting everything away from your head and shaking it out and then dropping it. So I'm going to be able to flip my hair back and forth, and it's not going to like catch or hitch, in theory. If you find this live helpful, guys, don't forget to double tap, give me a like, or share it. It helps me a lot. My name is Gal, by the way. If you're new here, I'm a hairstylist. I work out of Ottawa, Canada, and as usual, if you're interested in learning more about appointments, feel free to send me a DM. Okay, so as I was talking about at the beginning of this live, this is called the rake and shake method. You, of course, do not need to do this if you don't want to. There's lots of other ways to style your hair. However, the reason I teach this to my clients is because it is a tool that you can have in your toolbox to give you more predictable outcomes with more definition, better frizz control, and more longevity out of your style. This week, I styled my hair on Wednesday. I did 2 15-minute refreshes, and today is Wednesday. I wore my hair down yesterday. Like, that was it. I'm washing my hair this morning. That's the longevity that I got out of my style, because I spent an extra 20 minutes rake and shaking my hair. Now, I can rake and shake my hair in 10-15 minutes, but I find because I work in the salon Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes Saturday, I like to spend a little bit more time, like 15-20 minutes, rake and shaking my hair to really get salon quality results that will last me a few days, because I want my hair to basically look like day one hair for 3 days. So I'm gonna spend I'm gonna spend 20 minutes raking, shaking my hair, and that's worth it for me to have results that are really gonna last me. But if you don't need results that are gonna last you that well, you can, especially depending on your hair, you can absolutely rake and shake your head in 10-15 minutes. If you have, now, we're not talking to our type 4 beauties here. Of course, it's gonna take you longer, you have higher density hair. But if you have hair that is a similar density to mine, learning to rake and shake your hair in 10 or 15 minutes is very achievable. Sometimes less if you have lower density hair. Now I have my faucet literally running on a drizzle right beside me here because my hair is really pushing out water today. It's drying very, very quickly, probably just because it's winter. And in order for me to keep my hair frizz-free and really have amazing results, my hair needs to be saturated. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up with halo frizz at the end of the day. Okay, I'm just gonna show you a section here. Can you see how this section is not coming together here? I don't know. Right here. How am I? How is my 2024 going? Oh my gosh. Guys, when I say 2023 was a year. Okay, if you're new here, I became a hairstylist in 2023. I can't even believe that. So if you're new here, I think in 2020, I started my TikTok, just kind of sharing a little bit about me starting to embrace my hair and stopping straightening. I still straighten my hair sometimes, but not very frequently. That was 2020. I ended up having a head injury there. So I've kind of broken that up now and it's lying much flatter now. That was 2020 and things went, I was part of kind of that TikTok boom. Things went really, really well on TikTok. I'm not growing as quickly on TikTok anymore, but I have a great community of people there. Now lately my Instagram has actually been booming a lot more than my TikTok. But anyways, over the last, I guess 4 years now, I just continued to like learn and really fell in love with doing hair. In that time, I had a really awful head injury and I ended up having to look at changing careers because I couldn't sit at a computer all day anymore. And when it came time that I was like, well, I need to rechange careers, I was like, well, I'm clearly obsessed with hair. And so, you know, they say like, you close a window, you open a door. Not glad that I had such a bad head injury, but it ended up leading me to this amazing career. I now work at a salon. So in, I guess December, I started shadowing Marilyn at Curlology. And that turned into an apprenticeship at Curlology, which is a curly hair salon in Carp, Ontario. And I have been there ever since. And I am so privileged to be studying under her. She is so knowledgeable about curly hair. It has been such an amazing year. We now have another apprentice there as well, Leah. And I just like, I can't believe how much has happened this year. It's so wild. And yeah, so thanks for asking. I'm really good. I'm really, really good. Okay, so again, just going through section by section. One of the hardest things with the Denman brush is to make sure you don't pick up other sections when you're brushing through a section. And I'm actually usually pretty good about it, but I just did it. Because if you pick up a section from another section, it's gonna make the hair stringy. Hey, I used your tip on not moving my head when diffusing my hair last wash day. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, this section has just been giving me a hard time, so thanks, Melanie. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of showing you as I go. This section I just did, the hair was soaking wet, but I can already see little individual hairs popping out of the section. That's why I always say, don't go by how the hair feels, don't go by what it sounds like when you squish it, go by what the hair is telling you. I'll show YouTube too. Little baby hairs popping out of the section. That's telling me right away the hair in that section wasn't wet enough when I styled it. So I'm pivoting as I keep going, and I'm gonna make the hair even wetter while I'm working with it. That is pretty typical once I've been working with the hair for a little while. It's typically a sign that you need to, like, once the longer you're working with the hair, the more you need to really be mindful that you're keeping the hair wet enough. We got so much snow here in Ottawa last night. Oh my gosh. I swear we got like 20 centimeters of snow. My husband's out snow plowing. We live pretty deep in the country. Nobody comes to do our snow plowing. Okay, so when you have kind of like weirdly shaped sections, I just go through and individually shape those. Now back to the rake and shake method. So the reason I really focus on adding so much water is because it's the number one thing that's going to give me longevity in my frizz control. Especially if you're somebody who has coarser silver hair. The only thing that will help you with that frizz control is by making sure that the hair is super, super wet. And again, don't go by how the hair feels, don't go by whether or not it's scrunching, go by whether or not the water has come together, the hair has come together with water. If you still have little pieces popping out, you need more water. Because if you think about it, when you get out of a lake, do you have frizz then? When you've literally been swimming for an hour and all the hair is, seaweed hair, do you have frizz then? If you don't, then that's how wet your hair needs to be when you're styling it. Because at that point, that's when you're gonna get that frizz control. There's also another really great product for people who struggle with frizz developing during the diffusing step. And that is, it's the I Create Finish by Sense. If you find that even when you use really good diffusing technique, sometimes in that last step, you sometimes develop frizz. And that can sometimes happen with hair that's got this gray hair. I really like spraying the wet hair with I Create Finish and then hover diffusing for a little while. I Create Finish is technically a hairspray, but it's a very unique hairspray. It doesn't like create a crunchy or like, it creates a little bit of a cast, but I would only use it if I was diffusing. I would not air dry with it because I think it would leave like a sticky finish if you air dried with it. You really have to diffuse. But it just helps hold everything together. To help prevent frizz if you have hair that's just really prone to frizz. Now, this coarse, I do have a coarser, it's not super coarse, but I do have a section on the back of my head that is very coarse compared to the rest of my hair. You tried the Sense and Vital Curl and had great results. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so making the hair soaking wet, giving it a little shake, and then letting it drop back. We're almost done. Next section. Now I think I actually, to get those, this last week, I got my hair to last 6 days, and I think technically I brush curled the top section. So maybe I will go back to that, because 6 days, I got 6 days. What shampoo and conditioner do I use? Right now, I'm using Mela and Kira, the Balayage Exceptional, which is a Toronto-based brand. I also really like some of the Inner Sense shampoos. I also really like some of the Living Proof shampoos. Okay, so I could have rake and shaked all the way. It's also easier today to see how wet your hair is. I also need to add more water. I actually think I have my hair a little bit wetter today than I did last week, because I noticed that my hair wasn't quite, like, I ended up a little bit frizzier than I would have liked last week. So these new products that I got just really agree with my hair. You know, I've always said, like, products play a big role, but technique is, like, the most important thing. And I think I rescind that statement. I think I take that back, because this new product lineup that I'm using, I've never gotten results like this. So I think I just never used such good products. So I think I have to take that back. Thanks, Annette. Okay, so again, I don't brush curl my entire head like that. I really just do that along my part line. Because, like I said, as you know, if I did that to my curls, the brush would be stuck forever. The brush would be stuck forever. Oh, that's so funny. I have lots of tutorials on how to do brush curls if it's something you want to try. You absolutely don't have to. I always record all my lives and I post them to Instagram and YouTube, so you can go back and check them out after. Sorry, YouTube is kind of cut off there. I'll take a step back so you can see a little bit better. But the key is you wrap it around the handle and not the bristles. If you wrap it around the bristles, yes, you will have to cut the brush out of your hair, but you wrap it around the handle. So the way to do it is you put the brush at a downward angle, and you put through the bristles one time, and then you start rotating until just the tip of the hair is coming out of the bristles. And then you just keep rotating around the handle, just like that. And I honestly just keep rotating. And then you pull it out. And I am just doing this along my part line. Everywhere else I did the rake and shake method because it's a lot faster and gives me more volume. But I do like to do this just along my part line, because my part line is the least spirally section of my whole head. It's a very wavy, loose, like, it's not really a curl along the top section of my head. It's much more of a wave, or like S-wave. So to even out my curl pattern, and also to give me more longevity out of those curls, I like to do a Denman brush curl along this top section. But there's always a trade-off, because Denman brush curls are going to give you less volume than a rake and shake will. Now, because I do get halo frizz, I'm being very mindful to make sure that this section is nice and wet, because if it's not wet enough, it's going to get very frizzy. And if I'm worried that I'm rinsing a little bit of product out, I'll just put a little bit of foam back in. But I need to make sure that it's totally saturated in here. Ooh, I've never heard of that. My day 5 hair picks up fuzzies from my clothes. What do you recommend about that? I don't have a recommendation for that, to be honest. I haven't heard about that before. I don't know, you might need to wash your hair. Is there like a specific garment or type of garment that's causing that? Okay. Is it like when you wear a wool sweater? Will you post your product lineup? So the products that I used today was the Blowout Curl Cream by Mela and Cara. And then I used the Vital Curl Mousse by Weedad. The I Create Definition Foam. Yeah, and those are the products that I used today. And so much water, guys. So much water. I need to start diffusing my hair. One of the things I love about this product lineup so much is my hair doesn't take very long to dry because we didn't use a gel. And my hair usually takes a long time to dry, especially when I use gel, because I was using much heavier gels before I started using this product lineup. So my hair takes probably half the time to dry. I've also been considering buying the Diva Curl Dry Accelerator Spray that we sell at the salon, which can cut your dry time about half, like about 50%. So if I buy that too, I'm like, I think I'll probably be able to dry my hair in about 10-15 minutes. I can, in just a second, I can show the products. Okay, the last curl. So you don't need to do this before work if you don't want to. Christina, I'm seeing you again. Yay! I'm so excited. Yeah, so I post these lives to Instagram and I post them to YouTube. And on Instagram, I usually post the products that I used in the description. So the products that I used are the Mela and Cara Blowout Cream, the Vital Curl Soft Defining Mousse, and the I Create Definition by InnerSense. If you want to take a screenshot. Also, if you go check out my last live, which has already been posted to Instagram, it's also on my story highlights on Instagram under lives. It's in the description there. Okay, take screenshots. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next up. Okay, oh my gosh, it's a good look, eh? Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is micro plop. So I am now done the styling step. I'm gonna flip my hair upside down. The first thing I'm going to do is use my hands Did I add to my hair? Nothing is coming out. That's how much my hair needed that. Literally, I just scrunched my hair, nothing came out. That's how much my hair needed that water. Now, everybody's hair is gonna be a little bit different. Some people, especially with lower porosity hair, when they scrunch their hair, water is gonna come out. It's gonna really retain that water. But with my hair, now that it's a little bit higher porosity, nothing came out. So we know how we talked about the rake and shake method. The goal was not to encourage the curl at that point so much. The goal was really to create those individual curl clumps and spirals. Now, when we micro plop, this is when we're encouraging the curl. Now, don't overdo it with micro plopping, especially if you're very prone to frizzy hair, okay? If your hair, like if you look at your hair and it gets frizzy and you're not trying to encourage your curl, you might even skip this step, especially if your hair is very high porosity and you, like when you scrunched your hair, nothing came out. You don't necessarily need to scrunch. But if you want to encourage your curl, you probably at least want to scrunch with your hands. Okay. I'm happy with that. And now I'm going to start diffusing my hair. So this is my Life in diffuser. So I'm going to start by, how am I going to diffuse my hair today? I think we are going to start with a little bit of hover diffusing. So there's two main diffusing techniques. Oh my God. I'm so wet. I'm soaking wet here. Let me just dry my shirt. Okay. So, there's two main diffusing techniques. The first diffusing technique is hover diffusing, and the other diffusing technique is Pixie diffusing. If you have ever said, oh, I can't diffuse my hair just gets so frizzy and stringy, and you know, it looks poofy when I diffuse my hair, I'm better off air drying. This is for you, okay? You can diffuse your hair. I have not met a head of hair that I cannot diffuse. Now, there are some people who air drying is a good option for them. If you're not trying to get more volume, if you're not trying to encourage your curl, and if you're not struggling with frizz, air drying is a great option for you. But if that's not the case for you, then if you are trying to get more volume, if you are trying to encourage your curl, or if you're struggling with frizz, and then you're going to want to diffuse your hair, okay? Ultimately, diffusing your hair is just going to give you more control over the outcome of your hair. If your hair also takes longer than 2 hours to air dry, it's just more practical, in my opinion, to diffuse your hair. Okay, so I just quickly started with hover diffusing. Hover diffusing is literally taking a diffuser and hovering around your hair about 8 to 10 centimeters away from your hair. You can hover diffuse on high heat if you want. You can hover diffuse on a medium heat. So when you're hover diffusing, by the time the heat reaches your hair, it's not going to be quite as hot, so it's not going to do as much damage to your hair per se. If there isn't built-in heat protectants in your products, you might want to use a heat protectant spray on your hair. I like to to start hover diffusing upright if you want to have a defined part or if you have a fringe of any sort or like bangs. So my bangs have a tendency to get a little bit wonky, so I often like to kind of hover diffuse my bangs first before I start flipping them all over the place. There we go. So like these spirals had already gotten wonky, so I kind of like flipped them so they were all spiraling in the same direction. And now I'm just going to start hover diffusing them so they start to set in this nice spiral shape that I like. Now, how long you want to hover diffuse for is really up to you. The point of hover diffusing is it's going to create the least amount of frizz, but it's not going to do anything to encourage your curl pattern. So if your hair is extremely prone to getting frizzy and you're not as worried about encouraging your curl pattern, you're going to hover diffuse for longer. If you have very, very curly hair, but it gets frizzy very easily, you might hover diffuse the entire time. You can hover diffuse upright, you can flip your hair upside down and hover diffuse the underneath, especially if you have very thick hair. You can hover diffuse however you want. However, if your hair naturally is less curly, is more on the wavy side, you probably also want to introduce at least some pixie diffusing. So I like to hover diffuse first to allow my cast to start to set to protect it from frizz. So cast, or that stiffness that you feel, the crunchiness that you feel from products that have hold, gel, in this case I used a foam that was extra strong hold and also a mousse that had some hold to it. So there's some stiffness that I'm starting to feel from my hair as my hair starts to dry. And that's called your cast. Once I start to feel a little bit of that stiffness, I'm starting to have some protection from frizz on my hair. Because remember, hair that is wet is extremely fragile and extremely prone to getting frizzy. So every time you touch wet hair, it gets a little bit more frizzy. And that's why we use products that have some hold, like gel, for example, to protect our hair from frizz during the drying process. Or at least that's one of the reasons that a casted product is very helpful. So as soon as I'm starting to feel a little bit of that cast, I'm going to switch to Pixie diffusing. I like to Pixie diffuse to encourage my curl and to also get more volume. So I'm going to put my hair upside down. I'm going to switch my diffuser to a heat cycling setting, or you can switch your diffuser to a medium or a low heat setting. I'm going to lower my hair into the mouth of the diffuser. And then I'm going to hold the position for about 15 seconds. One of the mistakes that I see a lot of people making when they're Pixie diffusing is they move the diffuser every like 2 or 3 seconds. If you like the results that you're getting when you do that, of course, keep doing it. It's not necessarily a mistake. But if you move the diffuser every 2 or 3 seconds, you're going to break up the curl clumps and you're going to create a lot more frizz. Now with that, you're also going to create a lot of volume. So it's not necessarily a mistake, but if your complaint about diffusing is that it makes your hair stringy and frizzy, then you're going to want to scale it back and move the diffuser a lot less. So that's why I typically recommend that as you're getting used to the diffusing process, hold your positions for like 15 seconds. See how that goes, and then you can either choose to hold the diffuser longer if your hair takes a really long time to dry. Like if your hair takes like 8 hours to air dry, you might even hold it in for 30 seconds. If your hair takes like an hour to air dry, then you might hold positions for more like 8 seconds. So it's going to depend a little bit on your hair. So I showed my products not too long ago, but I can show them again. The products that I used on my hair today were the Mela and Cara Blowout Cream. I used this instead of a curl cream. It's very lightweight. It contains heat protectant, a little bit of moisture, a little bit of protein. I also used the Vitapro Weedad Mousse. These are all products at my salon, Curlology sells. You can check it out through the link in my bio. The Vitapro Mousse, which has moisture and a very soft hold, and it gives a lot of like bounce to the hair. And then also the I Create Definition Foam, and this provides definition and a very strong hold. Right, that's one's by Inner Sense. One of the reasons I love this product combination, it creates a very strong cast on my hair, and it also dries pretty quickly because there's no like heavy gels in there, and it doesn't weigh down my hair. But it gives me that longevity, that really strong hold. Like I got 6 days out of my hair last week. Technically 7 days because I washed my hair on the 7th day. I did refresh my hair twice, but when I say refresh, the last one was I Create Definition by Inner Sense. When I say I got 6 days out of my hair, but I refreshed twice, I never fully saturated my hair. Like I never got my hair wet and restyled it. I did wet down like 4 curls, individual spirals, on day 3, and then I used a little bit of a refreshing spray to add some like moisture back into my hair on day 5. So I like dampened it a little bit. And that was more to just address like from sleeping on it for 5 days. Some of the spirals had gotten a little wonky. But the clumps were still there and they weren't overly frizzy. I know that it's not ideal, but what products do you recommend that we could get at a grocery store? I'm not very like familiar with a lot of grocery store products. I don't know if you're American or Canadian. In the past, I have used Cake with Roll Wet Mousse and the Dawn Frida Mousse, and I did like them. You're not going to get the same results, obviously, as like you're probably not going to get 6 days out of your hair. But I have used those ones in the past. But I'm not super familiar with drugstore products, to be honest. Like if you followed me for a while, you probably know like maybe 2 years ago I was using a few drugstore products, but never so much for styling. More so for like shampoo. Do you sleep with a silk cap? Yeah, sometimes with a silk cap, sometimes usually with a scarf. I usually sleep with a satin scarf. To be honest, silk is better because it's antimicrobial, but I just have a lot of satin ones, so that's usually what I use. You can always like thrift a silk scarf if you want something more affordable. so at this point when my hair is like, I would say 80% dry or 90% dry, if you've been here before, you know I always like to check how the back of my hair is looking because I tend to get this like stringy spot at the back of my hair. One sec, I'll see if I can spin this so you can see the same thing that I'm seeing. Doop. I will show you how I fix it. It's not bad today. Maybe I don't even need to fix it. It's this piece right here. It's this piece right here. It always does this. It always does this to me. Okay, 1 second. And so the way that I fix it is at this point, I literally take water and bring it back together. And I can feel that it should be multiple curls because this is like a really big section. And I'm even gonna break this into 2 separate curls. There we go. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, 1 second. Okay, and then I'm literally going to bring the back and cover diffuse at the back. Yeah, if you can't stand having a wet t-shirt, put a bathing suit top on, and then you don't have to deal with that. The hair dryer I'm using is the Life-In. It's linked in my bio. I love it. It's fantastic. I use a Dyson at the salon, and this one is half the price. It has a heat cycling mode, which I love. The only complaints I have about it is the cord is really short. I think it's a 6-foot cord. I don't know why it's only 6 feet long. But I find a lot of the blow dryers for residential use have short cords. So I would just get like a little indoor extension cord for your bathroom if that's gonna bug you. Okay, so that always happens to me, so that's how I fix it. I re-wet that little section at the back, and then I just continue diffusing. But it's going pretty well so far. Actually, okay, 1 second, we're almost dry. Yes, it's a Life-In. The blow dryer is called a Life-In. It's linked in my bio. You can check if you want to check it out. Do I like it better than the Dyson? I have both. I'm a hairstylist, so I use a Dyson in the salon because the Life-Ins aren't rated for commercial use. I actually kind of miss my Life-In when I'm at the salon, but there's pros and cons to each. The Dyson has a better diffuser attachment. I can't deny that. It's better at diffusing airflow. Okay, but the Life-In has a heat cycling mode where it automatically cycles between high and low. heat. Yeah, technically, there are hairstylists who use the light thing. Oh. I have never used it for commercial use, so like I don't know how well it would last using it all day in a salon. I'm sure they wouldn't honor it if it broke and they could tell it had been used for commercial use. The bowl in the diffuser is the same as the Dyson. It's not very deep. As you can see. So like that deep. But I love my Dyson, like it's the one I use at home, and I do not regret not having a Dyson at home. Just because of the heat cycling mode. I definitely recommend it to all my clients because it's so much cheaper. I think for at-home use, I think it makes a lot of sense. Okay. So my hair is casted now. So you can see, there's no gel in my hair. This is just with a mousse and a foam. It's casted now, so we can start breaking the cast. So you can see it dries really quick without any gel in it. I don't know how long we were drying my hair there, like maybe 15, 20 minutes. And it's bone dry. Oh, so nice. I don't know if you ever used to join my lives before I started, when I was still using gel, but my hair would take like 40 minutes to dry. Okay, so now I like to scrunch out the cast, but even like it's not like a super strong cast, it's just very defined, but you can get a very strong cast from Eye Create Definition on some hair types if you're not careful. The mousse that I used was the Vital Curl by Weedad. Now, I love a lot of volume, but to get the most longevity out of my style, I actually don't try to make my hair too big on day one, because if I shake it, like ultimately, for my hair, I have to create a little bit of frizz under the top volume of my hair and really break things up in order to get a lot of volume. And I don't want to do that on day one. So I really chase volume by like day 2, day 3, day 4, but on day 1, I definitely go with a more defined look. And that's one of the ways that I get more longevity out of my style. But I just break it all up, and now that the hair is dry, you don't have to be precious about it. You can really kind of shake it up. Anywhere that you feel that the hair is still a little bit of dampness, just go back in and finish diffusing. My hair is so happy. Okay. So now it's really just going to be about breaking up curl clumps. Oh my god. The curl clumps are very juicy today. Why are they so juicy? I guess I did more denim brush curls than I usually do. So now I will basically leave my hair like this. I will sleep with it in a silk scrunchie, like ponytail right on top of my head, and a silk scarf. And I probably won't even need to refresh it tomorrow. I'll get 2-3 days out of it without a refresh. And yeah. Uh-oh. Anywhere that I want, oh, be so careful shaking your hair out with rings on. That can create so much frizz. So anywhere that I want a little bit more volume at the root, I just go and shake like that. Again, I'm not going to do it too much because I don't want to create too much frizz on my day one hair. And that's ultimately what I'm doing by doing this. I'm creating a little bit of frizz at the root. And I pull the hand back in. I'm not pulling it out through the ends, unless you want to break things up. Am I letting my hair grow again? No, I like it short. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it like that for today. Well done. Yay. I feel like it's so dark on YouTube. I don't know why it's so dark for you guys. I don't know if it looks that dark or if it's just me. So now when you shower, you just don't wash your hair and you don't get it wet. What do? I have a lot of baths, to be honest. So that makes it a lot easier to not wet my hair during the week. I think that's like the easiest thing to do is to run a bath. The other thing you can do is get a shower cap. Like that's really easy. Just put your hair in a shower cap. And sometimes what I'll do in the morning is I'll wake up, I won't take off my silk scarf, and I will put a shower cap, like a waterproof shower cap, over top of my silk scarf in the morning. So that way it's not like further disturbing my hair. There's silk against my hair. Yeah. So those would be my two best recommendations, because even like the humidity from the shower can make your hair frizzy. But yeah, I would say most commonly what I do is I wake up in the morning, and before I take off my silk scarf, I throw a waterproof shower cap over my silk scarf, and then I just have my shower. And like I try to keep my head out of the shower stream, which is not that hard, I guess, unless you have like a immediately over your head rainfall shower. But I don't even have like a handheld thing. I just like keep my head out of it. Or I have a bath. I usually have like 1 or 2 baths during the week. And the rest of the time I just shower. So yeah. How does the back look? Did it manage to stay not stringy? Oh yeah, it looks great. Yeah, I'll show you. I think it turned out great. So in total, and this was going live, I spent 90 minutes on my hair today. That's a long time. It doesn't take me that long when I'm going live. It takes me, when I'm not going live, it takes me about an hour when I'm not going live. But I spent, I just feel like my hair looks terrible the next day, and I always have to redo it to get it styled again. My curls don't do good after sleeping. Okay, so in that case, I would recommend, booking an appointment with a curl specialist. To come up with recommended products for you, see if you need some hair treatments, and come up with a routine for your hair. Because it's probably not just one thing. There's probably a few things that need to change to give you more longevity. I'm guessing there could be 1 or 2 products either missing from your routine, or it could be the products in general that you're using. There's probably something going on with your routine that's not giving you the most longevity. You might need some tips on how to have an easier refresh or a different refresh. There could be some things that you could do differently with your sleep protection routine, or maybe not. There might be something with how you're drying your hair. It's really an ecosystem. It's not just one thing. And that's why it can be difficult to help individual people during my lives. I always try to answer specific questions when people do ask them, but it is really an ecosystem. So last week I did 2 15-minute refreshes on my hair, but ultimately I got 6 days out of this routine. So yes, it's a long routine that I do on my wash day, but really I get 6 days without really redoing my hair. So for me, it's totally worth it. Not everybody is going to be able to get 6 days out of their hair. But also typically the people who can't get 6 days out of their hair, who really, best case scenario, are going to get 2, 3, or 4 days out of their hair, typically those people also don't have hair that takes as long to style, because usually it's people with finer hair, more medium thickness, density hair, and their hair is typically faster to dry and style anyways. So when we're looking at a routine for you, yes, we're looking for slightly faster routines. Your whole routine is going to be a 45-minute routine anyways. So, it all kind of shakes out. Do you know of any curl specialists in Buffalo, New York? No, but Diva Curl lists their curl specialists on their website, and I would always recommend going to TikTok, go to Instagram. That's where people post their portfolios. I can go 4 to 5 days without washing. That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. My hair looks great when I sleep on them. Get a silk pillowcase, silk satin sleep hat. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Sleep on satin and silk. That's a great point. But again, it's not just that. Especially for if you have fine hair or a very loose curl pattern. I have so many people come in and they're already sleeping on silk, and they're waking up the next day and their curl pattern is either their curl has totally fallen out overnight, or it's so frizzy and stringy by the next day. So I understand that there can be more at play there. If it's just that you're not protecting your hair overnight, silk or satin is a great place to start. I totally agree, Melissa. That is a great place to start. There's so much free information online if going to see a curl specialist is not accessible to you. In fact, if going to see a curl specialist is not accessible to you, I post as much free information on here as I can, so binge my content. And honestly, join my lives every week. I share a ton of free information on my lives. I post all my past recordings. I share as much free information. Every time I think that I'm going through something with a client that I think is really unique problem, I try to like share that problem that we've solved together when I post their before and after. So I'm always sharing free information on these lives. So I try to make as much free information available on these platforms as possible. Okay, thank you so much for joining. If you want information about booking appointments in Ottawa, Canada, send me a DM. Otherwise, I will see you next week. I go live every Wednesday at 7:15 a.m. I also post my recordings. If you are not able to make it to my lives, so you can watch them on Instagram, the recordings are posted under my live highlight reel on Instagram and also on YouTube. You can check them out as well. I go live every single Wednesday at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays at 7:15 a.m. Eastern. I know it's kind of a random time. I used to go live on Tuesdays, like later in the morning, but what I was finding is I was fully styling my hair Tuesdays, and I had to make my hair last like salon quality until like Saturday. And I'm like, my first day of the week working in the salon is Wednesday. Why don't I just make my lives Wednesday morning? So that it works better for my life, and Tuesday is my day off, so now I actually get my day off. So anyways, sorry guys, now my lives are Wednesday mornings, but it seems to be working. So I love you all, and I will see you next Wednesday. Okay, bye guys.